Hey, Gillen here at the brokerage. In today's video, we're joined by our friends at ClientCircle, formerly known as Rocket Referrals, to talk about how to improve your client retention.
As you all know, the insurance industry is getting more competitive. A lot of agents spend a lot of time trying to find new clients, and what ends up happening is they end up losing the ones they've already worked so hard to get. So the good news is, as an insurance agent, you have a unique advantage over the big corporations and call centers if you can put the right systems in place. So today, we are excited to be hearing from Torey Maerz to learn how to improve our client retention. Torey is the founder and CEO of Rocket Referrals, a leading insurance software that helps you get your clients to stay longer, buy more, and refer their friends. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Torey. Thanks again.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for having me today. I did pop on my video because, I love to connect with people and I got to see some, faces and things. So even if it's my own face that I'm looking at, I'm sorry that I make you guys all have to look at it too at the same time. So, before I get started, I wanted to give you just a brief background of, Rocket Referrals and kind of why we're here and where we came from. So we've really been working to help insurance agents improve retention and essentially build better relationships with clients for many years, since 2013. The idea is, to help you convert those prospects with cross-sell, ready-to-go automations, and bring some consistency to it, and build better relationships. And also, we have a really nice communication platform that's all baked in, and I'm going to show you some of the things that we can do in here as well. But today's presentation is really kind of conceptual. So whether it's Rocket Referrals or some other platform, you're going to be able to take what I'm sharing today back and apply it to really any system. So what we're going to talk about today is discovering how your clients feel. I know that a lot of you have really close relationships with many of your clients, and you probably think you know how they feel. But I'm going to talk about how sometimes that's not always necessarily the case, and it's really important to know how every single client, feels about you, not just the ones that you're the closest with. We recommend a system called the Net Promoter System. It's a really neat process that you can go through, super simple and easy for clients to respond to. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to share some data research around what clients really value the most, and some of it's kind of surprising, but also really in the wheelhouse of what everyone on this call is great at, and that's relationships and relationship building. And then specific things that you can do to improve retention beyond just the NPS, and then really how to get started, how to really dig into these things. So first thing, do you know how your clients feel about you? Not just the close ones, the ones that you talk to every day, but really everyone. And that's really the first step in improving your retention, is start to find out who your unhappy clients are. And if you think about finding your unhappy clients, some of the benefits is that you find out the people that really do truly love you. And then I'm going to talk about how you can use those relationships to bring in new people like them. Sometimes we think about retention as fixing just the unhappy clients or people that are likely to leave, but it's also about finding out who your best clients are and then attracting more people like them. And so what you're doing is you're bringing more clients in that are like your best clients, and those people just have a natural tendency to stay longer. And so I talked about the NPS. I wanted to just show you real quickly what the NPS is. If there's one slide around what the NPS is, and you've all probably seen this question before. If you've ever purchased anything from Best Buy, or you've flown on an airline, or you use an Adobe product, or anything, they're going to ask you this question: how likely are you to recommend us, Adobe or Google or whatever, to a friend or colleague? And then you're presented with a 0 through 10 response. If they're doing it properly anyway, it's a 0 through 10 response. What happens then is, the people who rate you a 0 through 6 are what we consider a detractor. Someone that's, potentially likely to leave. They're not really a loyal customer, and in fact, they could be negatively impacting your retention by telling people to look elsewhere, and that kind of thing. And then you got your neutrals, your 7 and 8s. These are people that don't really feel one way or the other towards you, positive or negative. The unfortunate thing about neutrals is that over time, they're going to move in one direction. They're either going to become detractors or they're going to become promoters, depending on what you do. So those are the people that, you have an opportunity to kind of sway one direction or the other. And then you have your promoters, your 9s and 10s. And your promoters are the ones that you can really get the most out of, right? They're the ones that you can get more reviews. You can, I'm going to actually talk about all kinds of things that you can do with them. But what we're trying to do is get our 9s and 10s. Okay, so we looked at over 2 million responses from NPS responses, particularly honing in on retention opportunities. And surprisingly, when we asked, our customers and agents that we knew what they thought people would leave for, they would say overwhelmingly, my customers leave me because they found a better price somewhere. And as we talked about your big box, companies and direct people, direct carriers and things like that, that's what they do. They really compete on price. They really care less, honestly, about relationships, which is what your strength is. However, the people that come to you and buy your products and look for your advice and your service and things like that, they come to you because they want better communication. They want to feel like you're looking out for them, and they want to have, a relationship, essentially. And so only 22% of the people that we found, said that they left because of price. As we really dug deeper into that, though, it wasn't necessarily that they left for price. We actually found prior, comments and things that those people have left that talked about communication and things like that. And so people are generally, opposed to confrontation. They don't want to, go to you and say, hey, I would have stuck with you if you communicated with me better. However, they can go to you and say, hey, I got a better price somewhere else. That's sort of an excuse that they can give you that makes them feel like you're not going to be angry at them, right? Because it's nothing that you did. It's something that, it's not you, it's them, right? Like, that's kind of what they're saying. And so in reality, though, most people are going to leave an agent because they don't feel like they're being treated, they do feel, I guess, that they're being treated like a number, that they're nothing more than just a product, and they want to have a relationship, and that's where your strengths really are. So what I want to do next is really dig into, if you remember, we've got our detractors that are 0 through 6, our neutrals that are 7 to 8, and our promoters 9 to 10. I'm going to go through sort of each group of people and talk about, once you've, figured out who is in where, how you can, communicate with those people and what you can do to them to get them to stay longer, and then also help you bring more customers that are like them. So promoters, again, these are your happiest clients. One of the most important things to do is to leave a review, to also ask for testimonials, and encourage referrals through handwritten cards. I'm going to talk about the testimonials and the reviews a little bit, further, and I'm going to get into detail on those. However, I do want to hit on, what does that mean, encourage referrals through handwritten cards? Well, when we send a card to someone, and we can't just say, hey, if you refer someone, I'm going to give you a $5 gift card, or something like that. That's not really going to work Incentive-based referral programs are not the way to go. But what you can do is you can say, hey, you're amazing. I love working with you. Wanted to let you know that I'm here for your friends and family if they ever need me. And the idea is that you're saying that you are there as an expert and you're willing to share your expertise and give them sort of the in to the agent that knows what they're talking about. A lot of people refer one another because they want to do their friend a favor. If their friend is having an issue and they know who can solve their problem, they're going to want to say, hey, go talk to my agent because he really knows what he's talking about. They're doing that referral because they kind of earn some social brownie points. They're doing their friend a favor and things like that. And so that's how you want to position a lot of your messages when you're encouraging referrals with promoters. They already love you. So now what you can do is you can say, hey, I am here for everyone. Let me help you help them is essentially what you're saying. And that message isn't going to resonate with a detractor or a neutral or someone like that because they haven't said that you've built that trust. But when you can hone in on your promoters, then that makes a big difference. That message really will resonate with those people and it works. And so you can kind of go back to what I was saying earlier, like, do you really know how your clients feel, right? You might be able to think of 10 or 15 people off the top of your head that you could send a card like this today and say, hey, I'm there for everybody. But not until you have a program where you're really analyzing your entire book, you're going to uncover hundreds of people that are promoters that you didn't even think about. And those are big opportunities that you're potentially missing out on. And you want to communicate with those people in a strong way because what we haven't talked about is promoters moving down to neutrals and detractors, right? You want to make sure that you continue to maintain those relationships and keep them active. And also cross sells. These are the people that you can also target additional campaigns to sell other products. I'm going to talk more detail about that. And another just neat stat, annual retention rate for promoters is 95% or higher, sometimes even a lot higher than that. And so we want to get more promoters. Now, because our annual retention rate of our promoters is so much higher and there's so many things that we can do for them, our passives as a group that we can move and migrate up to be promoters, right? These are people that we want to get, we want them to think about promoting you. And so how can we do that? In fact, a lot of the times these people used to be promoters, right? And I say most of the time they were is because people haven't started to kind of get into the habit of communicating with people. Now, once you do, and you start to automate those things, your passives move up and become promoters. But a lot of times passives are previous promoters that haven't been communicated with, right? So if you're not consistently communicating with people, they will move down. These are the people that you want to send those more personal touch points throughout the year, because passives or neutrals, sometimes that we call them, they are the folks that essentially don't feel that you really care about them one way or the other, that you essentially have no, they are just a client. And we want them to know that you do care about them and that you care about their success and you care about their family and you want them to do better. And when you do that through consistent messaging, they will move up to become promoters. The other thing that you can do with passives is make it easy for them to get in touch with you, right? Don't force them to use the way that you like to communicate, whether it's text message. Maybe you like to text with people. That might not be the only way that people like to communicate with you. However, you probably do have a group of people that like to use text message. And if you don't like to use text message, then you need to find a way to get a platform that can communicate through text and still get to you and allow you to do the way that communicate the way you want to. Your retention rate for passives is somewhere around 77%. So you can see it really starts to drop off pretty quickly. So if promoters is 95%, passives is 77%, really starts to drop off. You can see how not getting those people to move up to promoters can be a retention issue. Okay, so detractors. This is what I would call our low-hanging fruit. When you get detractors that answer 0 to 6, these are the folks that you can really turn around very quickly. In fact, if you call these unhappy clients within 48 hours to address their concerns, a lot of times they turn into a promoter. In fact, if you look at this, the second to the last and third to the last bullet there, third and fourth bullet, annual retention rate without a call is 56%. Then we looked at when people are actually calling detractors, that retention rate goes up to 87%. So you can see that just giving those people a call can really improve it. Someone asked to show the promoter slide again. Here's the promoter slide again. 95% for promoters, from a retention. Detractors, annual retention rate with a call is 87%. And so you're not going to get every detractor turned into a promoter, but sometimes all it takes is a call to turn them into a promoter. And a lot of times that's going to work. And you know why? Because a lot of times when people are responding to a survey, right, when someone actually takes the time to hit 0 through 6, they're honestly not expecting a call back. We've seen these surveys before, but they've taken the time to give you their feedback. The least you could do is take the time to give them a call. And when you do, they reward you. They reward you because you're listening to them. And in a way, they thought to themselves, this person doesn't really care about me. They're not listening to me. But then you prove them wrong by giving them a call, right? You're saying, I do care about you. I want to know what's up. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can resolve their situation, right? Don't have the intention of calling them to fix the problem. Sometimes it takes an explanation of letting them know, and that's really all that it takes. And a lot of times the problem that they have is a problem they're going to have with whoever their agent is, right? So that explanation is something that you can give to them that's going to maybe help other products, or maybe you did miss something, right? A lot of times it just takes that call. And so the best thing you can do, again, is to call your detractors. If there's one thing you take away from today's call webinar, is call your detractors, and that's your low-hanging fruit. That's the first priority for you. And if it comes to what to say, for Rocket Referrals folks, we have guides that can help you with these calls. We have some really nice, they're not necessarily scripts, but they're key points that you can bring up, right? You don't want a script for a call like this, but we can give you some key points, of what to say on these. So now that you have sort of, who your promoters, neutrals, and detractors are, you want to keep an eye on that over time. Because maybe what's going to happen is you're going to find some of these detractors, and you're going to identify some, maybe issues in a process, or maybe in issues with specific carrier or something. You're going to start to address those, and you're going to fix those things so that fewer people are detractors from the beginning and more people are promoters. You want to really keep an eye on things. So that score that you see on this screen, that's 70, where it says 70 is good. What that 70 is, it's essentially the difference between your percentage of promoters and percentage of detractors. And so you'll see that score change over time as you make some of these adjustments. And it's really good to keep an eye on this, and to have a process that's doing the NPS over time, so that what you're doing is working, so that you can see that you're making an improvement, but also to see when things maybe take the wrong direction, you can really quickly adjust, and that you're not going to go too far down a path that's not really working for you. I see a comment in the chat around what do you say on the detractor calls. I'll get somebody to post. Oh, actually, there is a blog post already, the post up there about what to call on unhappy clients. So follow that link, and we have some of the guides in there that you can do. Okay, save relationships, improve retention. So again, just kind of summarizing, this point here. Once you know who's unhappy, you can make it right. Sometimes it's not about, by make it right, it's not about, that you did anything wrong and that you're fixing a situation. It's really making it right by showing that you are thinking about them, As your NPS score grows, so does your retention. In fact, a 5-point increase in NPS typically is an average of 1%, boost in retention. And then agencies that are monitoring their NPS and doing things consistently, and then use a platform like Rocket Referrals to send consistent communication, will see that NPS on average go up by 6 points, right? So, that's an improvement of retention by, annual retention, I should say, by, 1% or more at least. So one of the important things that I've talked about, and recently on a podcast, even with the brokerage, we talked about how important consistent communication is. And even if you have 5 clients, 500, 5,000, you really have to find a way to automate communication, because the most expensive communication is the communication you don't send, right? It's that person that not every client is going to give a referral for a single welcome card, right? But, 1 out of, maybe 10 will. And that's potentially the one you miss is the one that's going to work for. And so whatever communication you're sending, make sure there is a consistent process and an automation to do this. It's important to think about these processes as how you're going to scale. The Outlook process, or some like setting an appointment to send a card or an email, it's just not good for you, because what you want to do is focus on the relationships and not necessarily the busy work of sending emails and communications, right? So step out of that stuff and kind of hand the automation over. It's almost like hiring several people to do those things for you. And keep an eye on it. Good tools have the ability for you to keep an eye on the communication and really stay involved, which is what is important. But turn on these automations and autopilots and things, and let that stuff do the work for you. And in fact, one of the neat things about these automations is that you can have really nice onboardings that have thank yous, gift cards, and then they follow up with periodic touch points and text and everything. And it feels you're not going to have to worry about those neutrals and passives feeling like you're not staying in touch with them, because you are going to stay in touch with them. So let your clients do the talking. This is where I said I was going to talk about reviews and testimonials and promoters a little bit more. And one of the things that people think when they think of reviews and testimonials is that it's a marketing tool, that when someone sees the testimonial, they're more likely to choose me, or when they see that review, they're more likely to choose me. But did you know that reviews and testimonials are one of the most important retention tools you can do? Whether or not you publish the testimonials and reviews online isn't a thing. It doesn't really matter from a retention standpoint, because when someone gives their word and wants to share that with people online, they're more likely to stick with you, because people inherently, the psychology behind it is people like to stay consistent with what they've said in the past. And especially that's true when they've shared that opinion. So when someone gives you a testimonial, they need to know that you're going to share that with other people, right? They need to know that, hey, thanks for the testimonial. By the way, is it okay that I share this with people, right? Let them think about the fact that their words are going to be seen by other people. And that way, if they're ever thinking about leaving you, it goes through their minds like, oh man, I just said all these positive things. And that's really going to weigh, it's going to weigh on them, right? And at a minimum, it's going to, start a call from them to you to, at least have a discussion about, choosing someone else or something like that. So testimonials and reviews are extremely powerful retention tools. So again, whether you're going to publish them or not, please collect a testimonial from every single customer that would give one. And so if there's number two that you can take away from today's call, remember how I said detractors are the low-hanging fruit? Well, getting your promoters to stay promoters is sort of the next thing, and to take away. And you can do that by just simply getting testimonials from those people and automate it the best you can. Let them know that it's going to be shared and that kind of thing. Now, when it comes to reviews on things like Google and stuff like that, that does make a difference, right? You can improve business and things like that through Google reviews. The trick is not to rush those things, right? What you don't want to have happen is send an email to every single customer all at once and say, hey, would you post a review? What may happen is you're going to get some reviews, right? You might get, let's say you get 5%, which would actually be a lot, but let's say 5% of the people responded to that email and left a review. Now you've basically wiped out all of the people willing to give you a review on your current customer base in one, sort of swipe, and you don't have any consistent reviews coming in over time. Because what Google wants to see, and also what people want to see online, are reviews that come in consistently over time. They would rather see 10 reviews, one every month and a half or so, for the last 12 months, than, 20 reviews in January and, they're in December or something like that, right? So it's really important to have those consistent things. Okay, so reviews really and testimonials are great for retention. Conversations in one place. So we talked a little bit about making sure that you have the ability to communicate with people on their terms. So look for tools. Rocket Referrals is a great option for you that you can communicate in one place through text and email and things like that. So you don't need to worry about how does someone want to be communicated with. Actually our system, for example, will ask these NPS surveys either through email or text, and it will kind of try one method or the other. If they're not responding on one, it tries the other, right? And so automatically it's swapping between email and text to find the preferred method for that person. So things like this exist for you so that you don't need to worry about what's the type of communication that they prefer, but they use that platform, and it kind of all comes back to you. And essentially just being there for people, with communication is really important. However, it is important to mix it up. And so we talked a little bit about, handwritten cards and things like that, but it's not just about communicating in the one way that people, want to see, whether it's text message, for example. You can't just stay on that platform, because you really need to be able to stand out. You need to be able to, show that you're paying attention and essentially, you're not just using one platform and sending out automations for folks, right? And so to do that, you can hit people across multiple media. Handwritten cards and are also really important. In fact, we've seen that when you connect birthday cards, and a lot of people are probably already doing birthday cards and things like this for some of your clients already, and that's super smart. You need to continue to do that, because when people are kind of moving away from the physical world and they're going more digital, I mean, we've all heard about the metaverse and everything like that. When you can reach out to people physically with a card or something like that that's really personal, it means a lot, and it stands out and people pay attention. We've seen the NPS go up by 15 points in 1 year by people who are not doing this, and then all of a sudden they start to implement it. It means a lot to their clients. especially in the type of clients that we're dealing with, right? This is really important. Stay connected throughout the year. This is, maybe the number 3 thing that if you were going to walk away from, today's meeting, that you should take. More often than not, we hear from clients, you're only talking to me when there's a renewal or, some event happens. And you also know what it's like when all of the type of communication happens, towards the end of the year or during a brief period. It's hard to manage all of that, communication. Well, you can start to kind of ease that up if you're communicating with people throughout the year. I know there's going to continue to be time-sensitive things that people need to respond to, but what I'm trying to say here is that you've got to find ways to communicate with people that are not related to their products, directly related to their specific policies, I should say, throughout the year. One of the neatest tips that I have for you is, now we've kind of baked this into a tool that we call Rocket Connect, but you have to let people know that you're thinking about them throughout the year, because remember that they're being bombarded with ads and all kinds of other things that are trying to get their attention. And if you're not also there, then those things really, they might start to pay attention to those things and, actually click on one of those ads or click on one of the emails and things like that. And we don't want that. So what we suggest doing is finding some useful articles, and we have a lot of them in a library already in Rocket Referrals, but things that people may be interested in. And it could be an article, honestly, about home ownership or something like that. It doesn't really necessarily need to be directly related to one of their policies, but the idea is to send a personalized message to them, that just says, hey, found this article online, thought you might be interested, let me know what you think. A very simple email that goes out like that. And the idea is that it's not a mass email. It's not like a newsletter that goes out to people that says, hey, I sent this thing to everyone, right? I sent it to you. I found this article. I thought you might be interested in it. Let me know what you think. And you know what? It's not about their opinion on that article or really sharing that article or really getting the information about that. But what you're going to start to hear from people are, hey, I forgot to tell you this thing happened, and some change that I need to do is XYZ. And so you're going to start to build some relationships with people just by reaching out and sharing things. And so this is a really, really good way of doing that. Now, we have a tool called Rocket Connect that automates that for you. But even if you don't, use Rocket Connect, try and find some useful resources for people that you can send on an ongoing basis. Even if you can't send them to each person individually, if you can send it to a list and said, hey, found this resource for you and thought you might like it, even if you do send it to everyone, try and do that as much as you can throughout the year. Make it easy to get in touch with you. Web chat, if you have a website, make sure that you have web chat on there. A lot of times, that's really what we're talking about here. And text. We kind of already talked about text message, web chat, so I don't want to go into too much detail here, but I haven't talked about web chat before. If you don't have web chat on your site, that's really important, because when you think about retention opportunities, people might be checking in to see whether or not you have specific coverage options or something, or maybe they're going out their website to, find your contact information, who knows? But before they, especially if there's someone that is thinking about you, before they decide to go somewhere else, they might go back to your website to get your information. You want to make sure that you have the ability for them to contact you very quickly, right there and immediately. And so our web chat tool, for example, is really nice because it's baked into the same communications that you can do text and email and all that stuff, and just pops open as a message on your your phone so that you can communicate with people. So, however, don't think about web chat as just being your website. Web chat now is across Google and Facebook. So when people are on those platforms, it's important to have a tool that can integrate with chat on Google and Facebook, which is what our tool does. So again, just kind of be there for those people, because again, from a retention standpoint, sometimes they're going to your website before they decide to leave. Maybe they're looking for how to cancel or something like that. And you want to make sure that you're available for that. Cross-sell. I know today's talk is all about retention, but I did want to hit really quickly on cross-sell, because this is something that when you have promoters, you can really get the most out of those people by maybe you're finding gaps that they have, and it's important that those gaps are covered, because if something happens, and they're not covered, then you don't want to be in that situation, right? You want to be to where your clients are properly covered when things happen. And so you want to make sure that they see you taking care of them by finding their gaps as well. And in fact, we have so many pre-written templates for you. We just loaded up our library with even more templates specifically for everybody on this call and at the Brokerage Inc. So we have a ton of templates that you're welcome to use, that's going to help you automate life, health, Medicare, supplements, et cetera, et cetera. Also, we have awesome account managers. If you're a Rocket Referrals person on the call and you need help with setting up a list to cross-sell people, we can do that. Getting towards the end, hopefully I saved 15 minutes or so for questions. Looking pretty good. Actually, one of the important things about Rocket Referrals is, we really help you with what to say. And so a lot of the templates that we have are pre-written, so you don't need to worry about it. All right, so where are we at? I think we actually are towards the end here. So I'm able to switch over and ask questions. If everything that I showed you today is, interesting to you, please, check out Rocket Referrals. Hopefully though, you can take some things away from this, whether it's Rocket Referrals or any other tool that can do NPS and things like that. Is really important for you to do. If you are interested at Rocket Referrals, there's the demo link here, rocketreferrals.com/demo, and no contract or setup fees. One of the really important things about my company and what we do is we're here to serve you. A lot of times we'll do a demo with people, we'll give you some tips and tricks, and then we'll say, hey, come back after you've done XYZ, because I think that you should really focus on something else to start with. And you're going to get advice from our folks, and everything's month to month, because we want to earn business every month, and we really truly are here to help and to we feel like we're stewards of this industry. We want to really see the independent industry grow and thrive, and that's what we're here to do. A question about what's in place to keep our clients' information safe. Well, we go through plenty of audits and all of that kind of fun stuff. And there's a lot in place. Justin, we can take that. That's something that we can potentially take offline. We have some documents that we can share with you, but we have a lot of clients in this industry, and yeah, I feel like we're covered there. Tabitha asked if we are integrated with Dynamics 365. We do have some customers that are using that, and I'm not sure how the integration works. That's one of those where it would be great to show us your system and do a demo and see if there's a way that we can get the data in, but I'm pretty sure we have some folks on that system. Articles in Spanish, yes, absolutely. One of the things about our multiple language products is that you set a flag on one of the customers, or one of your clients, and it will, essentially set what their primary language is, and you can default it too. So you can default your language to Spanish. And then not only are the emails and things that we send in Spanish, but also when they click a link and then it asks for, the follow-up on the survey questions, the pages are all in Spanish as well. And so, yeah, that's definitely really important to us. The articles in the library that we have right now are primarily, they're just links online. So it depends on the website that, it's going to land to, because it's not articles that go to our website, but it would be, say NerdWallet or something like that. Who knows where the website leads to. If they are translating it, or if it has been translated, or if they're looking at the person's browser preferences and then taking them to the Spanish version, then that's there. However, you can take any link to any site. If primarily your customers are Spanish, you can find Spanish articles and load the library up and use that, and then even segment who you send it to as well. And I should also add that if one of our templates is not translated in Spanish, then we can do that. So you're not going to have to worry about that. And also, human translated, right? We're not talking about a Google Translate, because we want to make sure that it's really good. Susan asked a really good question. Are we being offered a special pricing? And, we offer everybody the best price we can. Essentially is how we do that. Actually, if you go to our website and you look at one of our core beliefs, it talks about how we really believe that everybody deserves access to this type of software, enterprise grade software, and we're not pricing it for enterprise level, really pricing it for everybody. And that's just core to who we are. And so we don't bake in sweetheart pricing into our deal where we can go to somebody and offer big, huge discounts and things. That's just, we're not like, actually, it kind of reminds me like some software kind of reminds me of Kohl's, right? Like if you buy something at Kohl's and it's not on sale, then you paid way too much for it, And I feel like our pricing is just always discounted. We're always trying to offer the best price. Merlin, yes, absolutely. We do have plans for independent agents. In fact, primarily things are for independent agents. So you don't necessarily need to be an agency. In fact, the way that it really works is you sign up as an independent agent, and then if more people in your agency want to use that account, then they can kind of all get in on that, if that makes sense. But we have it set up so it can kind of segment contacts and things across there. So yes, our price is dependent on book size. However, we want to make sure that when you really start, it's big enough to where you're not going to feel like you're, nickel and dimed every time you grow. And so really, the price doesn't change until you really start to add a lot of people. So you'll see that when you go in there. So Stephen, good question. How many people can use one account? In fact, you can have as many logins as you want into one account, and really the price doesn't change if you have multiple logins to one account. However, you can have many people who are sending communication, and so that's when the price gets changed. So like, let's say you're an agency and you all kind of you get together and you buy one account, and then each person might be another $2 to $30, depending on how many features that you want to get. Susan asked, is this based on the amount of clients in your book of business? Yeah, so the amount of clients, for example, the base sort of plan starts with 3,000. So if you have 3,000 clients or under, you're not going to see any difference. And then it kind of grows over that. Yvette asked if you can just use one thing, and we made a decision early on that when we provide the solution to you, we wanted you to have sort of a full, thing that would work really well together. So if you were using the NPS and not the other things, then you're kind of missing out, because NPS behind the scenes, we take all of the data and use that to build sort of models about what we know about people, and then target people for referrals and retention risks and things like that. And so surveys, even though they're a cornerstone, they also drive all of our other communications. And so we don't really offer it alone, because the true value of what we're talking about and everything that we covered today is kind of using the surveys as a way to drive all of that other communication. Yes, Louis asked about the handwritten cards. So the handwritten cards are automated. It's technology that we created here that uses real handwriting. Now the cards aren't necessarily handwritten, but it looks very authentic. The point of these cards isn't necessarily to trick people, to make them think that it was literally penned by a human, but it's to sort of evoke some emotion, that, and have that personal connection, so that when they open that card, they feel, more human. And so we do use real ink on the cards and things like that. And I would, again, encourage everybody to do a demo and even request that we send you one of these as a sample so that you can see what they're like. They are, even though we invented it, sometimes I will get one in the mail to myself from one of our clients or something, and it makes me feel good, even though we're sending thousands and thousands of these every day. And it does prevent writer's cramp. Yes, absolutely. And really the most important thing, right? And the thing to think about on handwritten cards is that it's about bringing consistency as well to the process. Remember, it's when you're doing things that require a human intervention, human process, there's margin of error that you have to kind of think about there, right? So let's use birthday cards as an example. This is actually a really important point. I should have made this earlier. When you're sending a birthday card to someone, and you're doing that birthday card list maybe at the first of the month, and then you are going to send out all of the cards on the same day, or whenever you're going to take them to the post office, what happens is the person whose birthday is on the 30th of that month is going to get it really early, and then maybe maybe there was someone in there in February in the list, they got it at the wrong time and things like that. What we do, because everything is automated, we can make sure that that card lands on the birthday, or a day before the birthday, the same time that they're getting cards from their other friends and family. And the point is that when they get those cards out of the mailbox, or they're sitting on their kitchen table or their counter or whatever, they're in that stack of birthday cards from the other people that care about them, and they start to associate you with them. And so if the birthday card's not landing near the birthday, then you're wasting a lot of your time in doing that process, because it's not really doing what you want. What you want people to know is that you thought about them, that they were on your mind, and that kind of thing. And that's why it's important to be consistent when those things land in their mail. John mentioned it may not be beneficial for a new agent. I think that we have a lot of new agents, by the way, that are on this platform, because what it allows you to do is to start putting these processes in place to grow, and make sure that your attention is being put on the things that are important that you need to do when you're growing, and not necessarily writing handwritten cards and things like that that are going to help you grow and to become an amazing agent and to grow faster. I think that you'll be really surprised when you put in the processes in place to be a big agency, that's going to be what enables you to become a big agency or a big agent, or a big, a lot of clients.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like more content like this, remember, you can always go to thebrokerageinc.com, head over to our webinars page to find more.